Most people think brain fog is just part of aging, something to tolerate. But let me ask you this, what if it's not just normal? What if that forgetfulness you feel in the evenings, the fuzziness in your thinking, the slower recall of names and memories, isn't inevitable but reversible? Not with expensive medication, not with apps or crossword puzzles, but with something far simpler, something you can start tonight. That's right, I'm talking about food. You see, after 60, every little choice matters more. And what you eat before bed can either help your brain heal while you sleep, or keep it stuck in that mental haze that so many seniors quietly suffer from. But we don't talk about this enough. Most advice you hear is about breakfast foods, or supplements to take in the morning. But what about those final hours before we close our eyes? That's when the body does its most important work, restoring memory, repairing blood vessels, balancing mood hormones. And yet most of us eat something sweet or salty late at night, and then wonder why our mind doesn't feel sharp the next day. Let me tell you a story that changed the way I look at brain health forever. Her name was Helen, 74 years old, a retired librarian from Vermont who used to breeze through books and help her grandkids with homework like it was nothing. But over the course of a year, Helen started slipping. First, she forgot where she parked the car, then birthdays. Eventually, it got to the point where she'd walk into a room and not remember why. Her daughter was worried. The doctor said it was just normal aging, but Helen knew something wasn't right. She had always trusted her intuition, that quiet elderly wisdom that comes from living fully and observing deeply. So, she didn't give up. She didn't want to lose herself. And what she discovered shocked even her physician. It started with a small change, adjusting what she ate in the evening. That's it, just 2 simple foods added to her bedtime routine, and within weeks, something shifted. Her sleep got deeper, her mornings felt clearer, the fog began to lift. Well, let's start with the first food. Walnuts. Now I know, they seem simple. You've probably heard that nuts are healthy. But walnuts are in a league of their own. They're packed with something called alpha-linolenic acid, or ALA, a plant-based omega-3 that helps support brain function and stabilize heart rhythm. But it's not just theory. Researchers at UCLA found that older adults who ate walnuts regularly performed significantly better on cognitive tests compared to those who didn't. And the effect wasn't just slight, it was substantial. Walnuts help reduce inflammation, improve blood flow to the brain, and support the communication between neurons, which is crucial after 60 when those pathways start to slow down. Helen began eating about 6 walnut halves every night, just a little bowl by her window, paired with a warm cup of tea. She said it wasn't just about nutrition, it was a ritual, a way of telling her body, I'm still here, I'm still trying. That kind of message matters. There's something healing about choosing yourself at the end of the day. Now the second food might surprise you. Kiwi, yes, that fuzzy green fruit we often overlook. But did you know kiwi is one of the only fruits directly studied for improving sleep in older adults? A 2011 study published in the Asia-Pacific Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that seniors who ate 2 kiwis before bed fell asleep faster, slept longer, and experienced better sleep quality overall. But the magic doesn't stop there. Kiwi is rich in vitamin C, vitamin K, and powerful antioxidants like lutein and zeaxanthin, which support both brain and eye health. It also naturally boosts serotonin, the neurotransmitter that regulates sleep cycles and mood stability. Helen added 2 kiwis to her night routine, sliced, peeled, and eaten slowly about an hour before bed. It became her way of easing into rest without screens, without stress. And she wasn't alone in this journey. Let me tell you about John, a 69-year-old widower from Oregon. After his wife passed away, his nights became long and restless. He couldn't sleep. His thoughts raced. He tried sleep pills, but they left him groggy and numb. Then his grandson, a college student studying nutrition, shared something simple: a kiwi nightcap. 2 kiwis, no phone, no TV, and dim lights. John traded, not expecting much, but within a week something shifted. He told me, I started remembering my dreams again. I felt like I was resting, not just lying there. That's the beauty of using nature to heal. Not through force, but through nourishment. And here's the bigger lesson. Elderly reflections like Helen's and John's remind us of something profound. That healing doesn't always have to be dramatic. Sometimes it's in the small acts of care we give ourselves when no one else is watching. When you choose a few walnuts instead of crackers, when you peel a kiwi instead of reaching for a cookie, these are not just bedtime snacks. These are choices that tell your brain and your heart, you still matter. I'm still caring for you. So tonight I want to invite you to try it. Don't wait for another forgetful morning to make a change. Begin now. with two simple foods, walnuts and kiwi. Let them be your medicine. Let them be your moment of peace before the world goes quiet, and then see how you feel tomorrow. If this spoke to you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Europe, North America, somewhere else? Your story matters. And if you haven't already, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you never miss a moment of elderly wisdom and senior health that can truly change your life. Because here on Elderly Reflections, we don't just talk about health, we talk about dignity, about presence, about living fully. There's something sacred about the hours before we fall asleep. A kind of quiet most people miss. But if you've crossed 65, maybe you've started to feel it too. The world gets a little slower, the house gets quiet, and in that stillness, your body begins its nightly work. Restoring, repairing, rebalancing. But here's the hard truth. If you're over 70 and still waking up groggy, confused, or unsteady, your body might not be getting the right support to do that job. You don't need more stimulants during the day. You need smarter nourishment at night. This isn't just about sleep. It's about brain clarity, memory retention, emotional balance, all the things that fade quietly if we're not paying attention. That's why what we eat in those final hours can have a profound effect on how we think and feel the next day. And the next food I want to share with you tonight is more than just nourishment. It's tradition, it's warmth, it's healing passed down through generations. I'm talking about turmeric milk, sometimes called golden milk. Now you've probably heard the buzz, maybe even seen it in trendy cafes. But before it was fashionable, turmeric milk was medicine in many households, especially in cultures that valued natural healing and elderly wisdom. And here's why it matters so much for seniors. Turmeric contains a compound called curcumin, one of the most powerful natural anti-inflammatories known to science. Chronic inflammation is the hidden villain in aging. It silently erodes brain function, hardens blood vessels, weakens joints, and disrupts hormones. And you don't always feel it happening until your memory slips, your knees ache, or your mood drops for no reason. But when you combine turmeric with warm milk and a pinch of black pepper to increase absorption, it becomes something remarkable, not just soothing, but restorative. A 2018 study in the American Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry found that older adults who took curcumin daily saw real improvements in memory and attention, even a decrease in harmful protein buildup in the brain, linked to Alzheimer's. That's not a supplement, that's real food. Real change. Let me tell you about Joyce, an 81-year-old living in Devon, England. Her granddaughter, a nurse, noticed how much Joyce struggled after dinner. Her thoughts would slow, her legs ached, she'd get confused about the time. One evening, her granddaughter made her a warm cup of turmeric milk. Just half a teaspoon of turmeric, a little black pepper, a touch of honey, and a sprinkle of cinnamon. Joyce sipped it by the window, wrapped in a shawl. It became a new kind of bedtime. Within 2 weeks, she said she felt something she hadn't in a long time. Herself. Not perfect, not young, but clear, present, steady. That's what we're after here. Not miracles, just gentle, powerful improvements that make life feel full again. You don't need fancy powders or expensive jars, just warm milk, turmeric, pepper, and a bit of care. Make it your ritual. Make it a message to your body. I still believe in healing. Now the next food may not be warm, but it's just as powerful and far more overlooked. I'm talking about blueberries. Yes, those tiny, deep blue fruits you see in grocery store baskets. But what you might not know is that blueberries are among the most studied brain-boosting foods on the planet. Rich in anthocyanins, potent antioxidants that protect brain cells, improve blood flow, and slow mental. In fact, a study from the University of Exeter found that seniors who consume blueberry juice daily showed measurable improvements in brain activity, especially in the areas responsible for planning and organizing. That's not folklore. That's measurable change in the mind of someone over 70. Let me tell you about Louis, a retired mechanic from Kentucky, 75 years old, proud, practical, never believed in health fads. But when he started forgetting names of coworkers he'd known for decades, when he began writing down instructions to operate his own garage tools, something shifted in him. A friend suggested blueberries. Just a small bowl every evening. At first he resisted. I'm not turning into one of those smoothie people. He laughed, but he tried it anyway. A week later, he told me, I can't explain it, but it feels like someone wiped the window clean in my head. 3 months in, his daughter said he was more focused, more steady. He called them his blue thinking fuel. That's the beauty of it. You don't need large amounts. Just a small handful before bed, maybe paired with some Greek yogurt if you like. Blueberries help the brain recover from oxidative stress. They support blood vessels, reduce inflammation, and most importantly, they help you feel present again. Because for many seniors, that's what's fading. Not life itself, but the sense of clarity, the ability to stay sharp in conversation, to remember the little things that make life worth living. And that's what we're reclaiming here. So tonight, let your plate become your medicine. Maybe a glass of turmeric milk to relax your nerves, a handful of blueberries to protect your brain. You're not doing this for a diagnosis. You're doing it because you still want to feel like yourself. That's the difference. That's the power of motivation after 70. You're not chasing youth. You're choosing clarity, presence, peace. And if this spoke to you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Tell me, where are you watching from? The US, the UK, Canada, somewhere else? Share your story in the comments below. It means more than you know. And if you haven't yet, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell. Because here on Elderly Reflections, we're not just about information. We're about inspiration, senior health, and life lessons that actually mean something. Your journey matters. Your clarity matters. And this nighttime ritual, it just might be your first step toward feeling alive again. There's a certain kind of quiet that comes after 8 p.m. The phone stops ringing, the outside world softens, and if you listen closely, your body begins to whisper. It tells you what it needs, not through words, but through aches, fatigue, and that lingering fog that settles in the mind when you've passed a certain age. If you're over 65, you know this feeling. You sit in your favorite chair and notice how your thoughts move slower than they once did. You try to recall a name, a date, a memory, but it slips away like steam on a mirror. And maybe, like many seniors, you've told yourself this is just what happens, that there's no reversing it. But I want to offer you a different story, because after all we've talked about, the walnuts, the kiwis, the turmeric milk, and blueberries, there's still one more piece to this quiet ritual. One more habit that can change your nights and shape your days. It's not flashy, it's not sweet, but it's one of the most powerful tools for reversing brain fog and nurturing the heart. And that's spinach. Yes, a handful of leafy greens. And before you shake your head thinking salads are for lunch and not bedtime, let me tell you why this one habit matters more than you might imagine. Spinach is one of the richest sources of magnesium, a mineral that helps regulate blood pressure, calm the nervous system, and support the deep rest your body needs to heal. And here's the key. Your body absorbs magnesium better at night. That means if you're struggling with restless sleep, muscle cramps, low mood, or that racing feeling in your chest, it could be your body simply asking for more of this forgotten mineral. But that's just the beginning. Spinach also contains natural nitrates, which improve blood flow to the brain and support vascular health. Two things that quietly decline after 70 and often go unnoticed until a fall, a fainting spell, or a stroke. In fact, a study in the Journal of Clinical Hypertension found that seniors who regularly consumed leafy greens had better blood pressure control and a significantly lower risk of cardiovascular events. Now let me tell you about Maria. 69 years old, born in Spain, now living quietly in Arizona. Her doctor told her last year that her blood pressure was creeping up, her sleep was getting lighter, and she often woke up tired. She didn't want to add another pill. She wanted to start with food. So every evening before bed, she began preparing what she called her green piece, a small salad with baby spinach, olive oil, and a few slices of avocado. That was it. Nothing fancy, no dressing from a bottle, just pure, heart healthy nourishment. And within 3 months, her blood pressure had dropped, her sleep improved, but more than that, she felt empowered. Not just better, but in control. That's what these rituals give us, not perfection, but a sense of purpose. So now let's bring it all together. Walnuts to feed the brain with healthy fats, kiwi to support serotonin and sleep, Greek yogurt for gut and brain health, turmeric milk to fight inflammation and restore memory, blueberries to protect the brain from aging, and spinach to nourish the heart, calm the nerves, and help your body restore itself quietly through the night. You don't need all of them at once. You don't need a big meal, just 2 or 3 in rotation. A few walnuts with your yogurt, a kiwi slice beside your spinach, a cup of turmeric milk as you wind down. Think of it not as a diet, but a declaration, a way to say, I'm still here. I still choose to take care of myself even now. And if you're wondering when to eat these, listen to your body. The ideal time is between 7 and 8:30 p.m., giving your system time to digest before bed. Keep the portions small. This isn't about fullness, it's about function, about feeding your mind, not just your appetite. And just as important as what you do eat is what you don't. Processed snacks, the chips, the crackers, sweet cereals, they spike your blood sugar, raise your blood pressure, and disrupt your sleep. You may not feel it right away, but your body does. And alcohol, while it may help you fall asleep faster, it actually fragments your sleep, increases nighttime heart rate, and can worsen cognitive decline over time. So save the wine for earlier in the day, not before bed. And don't forget hydration. Drink enough throughout the day, but taper off by evening. Too much fluid at night means more trips to the bathroom, more risk of falls, and less deep sleep. The kind your brain needs to rebuild. Now, I want to leave you with something more than facts. I want to share one last story. Georgella, 82, a retired dentist from Vermont. Sharp, witty, always had a quote for every moment. But after his wife passed, the nights got hard. He stopped eating dinner, lost interest, started grabbing crackers and canned soup. His memory dulled, his blood pressure rose. His daughter, a nurse, gently stepped in. Together they created a night tray. Not a meal, just a small tray each night at 8:30. A handful of walnuts, some yogurt with blueberries, a glass of golden milk, a journal, a quiet light. George said it changed his life. I sleep now, he told me, and when I wake up, I remember my dreams. That's what we're chasing here. Not just better sleep, but better mornings, better memory, better days. So let me ask you, what will your night tray look like? What small choices will you make tonight that your future self will thank you for tomorrow? You don't have to do it all. Just start with one thing. Maybe it's spinach, maybe it's a kiwi, maybe it's just turning off the TV, lighting a candle and saying, I'm choosing me tonight. That's where the healing begins. That's what elderly reflections are about. Listening inward, acting with love, nourishing what still wants to grow inside you. Because even after 70, even after 80, your brain still wants to bloom, but you have to feed it like it matters. And if this video spoke to you, share it, like it, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you never miss a chance to learn from real stories, real research, and real life lessons from the elderly who've lived, learned, and are still teaching us how to live well. And tell me, where are you watching from? The US, the UK, Europe? I want to hear your story. Because this isn't just a video, this is a conversation. And you, yes you, are part of it. Here's to your heart, here's to your brain, and here's to the quiet, beautiful power of a bedtime routine that finally lets you wake up clear.